Back again with another review request, and this is for PREDMINATOR. He wanted me to talk about a review, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that came out in 2003. And the plot here, you have these five friends. They find themselves, well, they're on the way to a concert, and they pick up this, traumatized hitchhiker. And long story short, soon enough, they become hunted by Leatherface and his family of psychopathic killers. And that's the plot here to the film. Now, the film is directed by Marcus Nispel, which prior to this, the guy was mostly known for directing a lot of music videos. And then later on, he would direct Pathfinder and the remake of Friday the 13th, which I did see in the theater. And I like that movie. But here, I think that he does a decent job. But I will say, and I know people are going to ask, yeah, I do prefer the original more. And in no way, shape, or form, this movie tops the original. For me, the original is more, visceral and in your face. But this film here, again, it's a decent movie. The cast here, Jessica Biel, for me, it's her show. And, I mean, there's other people in the cast here, but she, for me, is the highlight of the movie. And especially in the last, 30 minutes here. Because I have not seen this film in a while, I forgot about the last, 30 minutes of the film. So when she's fighting back against Leatherface and, when she runs over Arlie Ermy, I'm like, okay, I forgot about that part. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that moment. So for me, Jessica Biel, and you can see, why after this movie, her popularity was rising. I mean, a year later, being in Blade Trinity, which, we're not going to talk about that movie, but it seems like after this film, she was doing more and more stuff. You also have Jonathan Tucker in here, and he's okay. The other people involved, Erica Leisure, or I'm trying to get the last name right. Erica Leisern, Leerhsen. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. You also have Mike Vogel and Eric Balfour, Balfour. He's kind of like, the secondary character lead. I don't know if to be honest with you, I just didn't really care for that actor. But for me, I would say the other person here that kind of stole the show was Arlie Ermy. Rest in peace to Arlie Ermy, then of course from Full Metal Jacket. And here I thought he did a good job, playing this character. And, of course, you have Leatherface here, who is portrayed by Andrew Bryniarski. And, for me, Gunnar Hansen is Leatherface. Andrew Bryniarski, from what I've heard about the guy, I would not want to meet him. I know he's been in other stuff before. He had a bit role in Batman Returns. And, yeah, I mean, again, I would not want to meet the dude. I mean, again, I've heard stuff about him and so on. But what's funny is that one of the first names that was considered for Leatherface, and I don't know how much of this is true. This is what I read, that apparently Dolph Lundgren was one of the first choices. But he, declined the role, to spend time with his family more. And I'm like, can you just imagine Dolph Lundgren as Leatherface? I must skin you. Can you imagine? Maybe he would have been better than Andrew Bryniarski. We'll never know. Maybe in some other universe out there, Dolph Lundgren is Leatherface. But I just... I mean, I don't know. Just Leatherface here, people may not pay attention to, the fact that Andrew Bryniarski is portraying this character. It's just a character. But at the same time... I don't really care for Andrew Bryniarski, and I would not want to meet him. So moving on to other stuff here. So as far as like other stuff to mention here, you know, John Larroquette comes back to provide a little bit of narration in the beginning, you know, which is cool. And the way that certain things happen here and unfold, you know, there's some similarities to the original. Some things are a little bit different, you know, in terms of the tone and execution. But that's why, for me, you know, the original, again, is still the best. And because it's more visceral, you know, it's more psychological. You know, here, you know, it takes place in the early 70s, but it kind of has that, you know, 2003 feel with the characters. And I know I shouldn't, you know, be so, you know, nitpicky like that, but it's kind of hard to separate a little bit. But I will say, you know, out of the characters, I think Jessica Biel, her character is the best of the cast. And again, Arlie Ermy does a good job here. It's not a long film at all. It's like an hour and a half. And, you know, it doesn't really drag on. You know, there's no moments where it really drags. You know, there's some good gore here. Some good moments of gore. You know, with limbs being cut off and stuff of that nature. And, you know, the locations, you know, are fine. But there's just something about, I don't know if it's the direction here, if Marcus Nispel was the right director for this. I don't know, like, maybe it needs a stronger director or, you know, a stronger script, whatever the case may be. But overall, I would say for me, it's a decent remake. Yeah, I don't know if you maybe needed a director with a little bit more experience or a better script, or maybe one could argue you didn't really need the film. But I've seen worse. You know, for me, there are worse remakes out there. Like if I gave this somewhere on a 1 to 10 scale, for me, this is like a 6. Again, it's a decent movie, a decent remake. Nowhere on the level of, let's say, The Thing or The Fly, but it's a decent watch, you know, for some good gore. Jessica Biel, Arlie Ermy, the pace is not bad, and yeah, it's pretty much it. But thank you to PREDMINATOR for the review request. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.